Hey, have you heard about my AI alter ego? That's right. Ask Alan Anything is now live, and we've trained it on my 13 books. We've trained it on over 200 podcasts. It has most of what's in here, not everything, but most of what's in here. And you can, when you're sitting around going, gee, I wonder what Alan would do in this situation, or I wonder what Alan would say in this situation. Well, now you can. Go to whatwouldallansay.com. Enter the coupon code podcast because you're going to get half off. It starts at only $10 a month. And now when you're thinking, I wonder what Alan say? Now you can actually ask. Go to whatwouldallansay.com, enter the coupon code podcast, and start asking me anything. Pinterest. It's still a thing. Listen to this episode and find out how you can use it. Welcome to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Berg. I'm a speaker, sales trainer, consultant, author, and I help businesses like yours sell more, profit more, and have a little more fun doing it. Enjoy this episode. Hi, it's Alan Berg. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I am so happy to have Dana Bahr on to talk to us about Pinterest. Dana, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for joining and thanks for reaching out to me about this because timing wise, I mentioned to you in the email, I was in Ireland not that long ago. And at the conference I was speaking about, there was somebody from Pinterest there. And I kind of posed the same question to him because I was like, is Pinterest still a thing? Like, everybody talks about TikTok and Instagram and all, but apparently it's a big thing when it comes to inspiration for weddings and events. So how did you become a Pinterest expert?
I will happily say I blame Jenna Kutcher
Okay.
for this. So when I launched my business, I pivoted from being a wedding planner to supporting wedding pros in the height of the pandemic, because at the time I was a single mom of three, and so finding childcare for three children to go do a wedding was way more stressful, in my opinion and personal experience, than going to do the wedding itself and figuring out the nuances of, are we close to each other? Are we not close to each other? How are we making this happen? So I pivoted very quickly to supporting those that were able to stay in the industry, had that support system to watch kids, family, and anything else. And I just started as like a business manager. I know what they needed to run. I know how to create a timeline, and took a lot off their plate so that they could focus on the very important things of, how are we getting married today or tomorrow or next week? And it was in that process that I noticed a gap of leads, because wedding shows did not go virtual. A lot of things did. Events went virtual, but wedding shows was not one of those things that I was seeing. So overnight, filling up their pipeline of qualified leads and bookings for the upcoming year, gone. So I turned to, where are couples hanging out? Let's meet them where they are. They're on Pinterest, they're planning, they're looking into trends and details and aesthetics and building out their day. So I started looking on how to make that work for my clients specifically. And I found Jenna Kutcher's webinar on Pinterest and how she uses it in her business. And I was sold. I was like, all right, perfect. This is what we're doing. This is what's going to set you apart from everyone else still trying to have, like, battle it out on Instagram. Instagram is a great platform, but it is for, I'm already at a wedding. I'm already doing these things, or I was at a wedding, not I'm planning a wedding. Pinterest is where they go. So I
Okay.
use that knowledge to build services and packages and support designed for creating lead gen, but utilizing a Pinterest-led foundation.
Okay. So that's a great point that a lot of the people that are on Instagram are posting things that have already happened,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is, of course, inspiration for the next person still, because, you're looking to see what's being done. But Pinterest really, I guess technically people are posting things that have happened, but you're saying that it's more of a place to go for that inspiration as you're planning. It's more of a collective of that.
Yes. So Pinterest is a platform full of research-backed insights They have
Hmm.
all their trend reports and things. And that's the difference in the users. So
Okay.
people that are on social media, we'll use Instagram again, it's they're not planning something by being on that platform. They're there to socialize, they're to connect. They're there,
Hmm.
so it has its purpose in your strategy of growth, visibility, and marketing, but it's there for you to connect and to see what someone is currently doing. Pinterest, people go to plan. That's where the planners hang out, whether it's a wedding, a baby shower, a corporate event, even like they're planning their next phase and they're doing it with boards and content and like coming from Pinterest.
Yeah, I can see that now with the focus. So that makes it a lot clearer for me because, you know, someone who's not planning something right now.
Give it
Although
time.
I will be invited to a baby shower soon, so that's good. And they just had the reveal, and I thank them for not blowing anything up when they did. That was very nice. Um, they actually gave an envelope with the sex to their favorite cupcake shop, who then gave them back cupcakes. And then when they opened up the cupcakes, they found blue filling inside the cupcakes. So then they knew it was a boy.
Yay, I love that one.
Yes, that was very, and then they texted us a picture of the inside of the cupcake and said, "Your grandson says hi." So that was very nice. Um, but again, I see that inspiration piece. It's so focused on if I wanted to find wedding flowers, right? It's everything
Mhm.
right there as opposed to in the middle of this noise of Instagram, this noise of TikTok, and this noise of Facebook where there's so much else going on, dancing cats and, whatever else is going on over there, a lot more
Yes.
focused. So, uh, what are what's the data in terms of how much time people are spending, on something like Pinterest? Do you have, I know you said they have analytics and things.
Time-wise, I actually haven't looked to see how much time.
Okay.
I know I
Okay.
spend a lot of time,
Yeah. Right.
but I will say the volume is there's 439 billion active users on a monthly basis just in the United States alone. I so
Wait. 439 billion.
active monthly users on the
Okay.
platform. So
Right.
there's
It's
billions
got
of
to be,
people planning.
that's got to be sessions because there's only 300 and something million people in the United States, right? So
Mhm.
it's got to be sessions
Yes.
in okay. Right.
So, but like at any given point, there's that many people coming onto the platform and pinning, sharing, doing
Okay.
something on Pinterest. Like they're coming and going, but
Right.
they're all there creating something for the next phase of life.
Got it. So a lot of people are going there, which again would probably mean the amount of time that each person is spending.
Mhm.
If you divide that out, like how many there's only so many people that are planning events, and if they're going there billions of times a month, they're going back again and again and again and again for that. So what's some of the insight for weddings that Pinterest can give you? And is this available to anybody?
Yes, so I put together a Pinterest trends report going into 2026 to kind of see what is like to help guide
Mhm.
wedding planners and professionals like with their content, looking at what they already have, giving it a longer shelf life. And each trend is drawn from like behavior on the ground observations, connecting that digital inspiration to real
Okay.
world demand. So one of the big things that I'm seeing right now is couples are planning earlier, they're dreaming bigger, and they're wanting like a cohesive story. So it's not just a one day thing. Wedding weekends are starting to grow and rise, and it's less about color palettes and aesthetics, which is still a big component, but it's more
Mhm.
about using these to tell the couple's story and create a one of a kind guest experience. It's not just the bride anymore, it's the couple, it's both of them. The bride looks amazing, the groom looks amazing, and together they're going to invite everyone into their own little bubble and create tables and fashion and everything cohesively to tell one big, beautiful story.
Okay. Yeah, that means my son, daughter-in-law were ahead of the curve when they did their 3 days, 10 people, 30 people, 60 people last year. Spread it out. And I did a podcast about this. I don't know how much they spent, but I'm sure they didn't save money by doing it that way. They just did it differently. I
Yes.
also saw that the Pantone color of the year is like, what is it?
Cloud white.
Cloud white. Okay. So talking about a color palette, that sounds like the absence of a color palette. Right.
I've seen good things and I've seen bad things where
Yeah.
people love or hate it. But I
Right.
think that's just like it's just one part of the story.
Yeah.
So
Right.
utilizing cloud white honestly can blend with a variety of different color
Right.
palettes. So me being like positive, I'm like, let's spin it. Cloud
Right.
white, Pantone color of the year. We're going to use those words, but we're going to tie it to an entire story arc and not just that one single detail. So
Right.
it'll be venue, tables, florals, paper all together with a little bit of cloud white inside of it.
Right. Well, I guess the beauty is it goes with just about anything, right? So that makes it easier.
That does
Um,
help.
so one of the complaints I've heard over the years, this is not just a Pinterest complaint, but just in general, the Pinterest, the Instagram, all the photos. A couple comes to you and they saw this thing on Pinterest or whatever, and of course their budget doesn't allow for what they're showing in the picture, right?
Yes.
And I say this joke in my presentations that we should lobby Pinterest and all of them to put a little price tag in the corner so that you can see, oh, that wedding was $150,000 and your budget's 30, right? So like maybe you can't afford to do all of those things. Is there any way for someone who's planning to get a better idea? Like, can I afford that? Or is that just still the picture is the picture?
I think the picture is the picture, but having text overlay and leading to a resource that is educational in that mindset
Mhm.
or in that foundation is the best option. I've even been seeing it on Instagram where couples are like, or planners and photographers are sharing with couples, this is what this looks like, but it's usually a carousel post, but this is how you can achieve these
Yeah.
aesthetics on a
Right.
more affordable realistic budget and like fine tuning. But I think that also just sets the stage of this is why you need a professional and
Yeah.
not just trying to DIY it because even myself, I was in the wedding industry and I could not tell you the difference between, oh, well, I like a hydrangea, but maybe they're really expensive this season. So what's a hydrangea alternative? I need a professional florist to help me fill in that confusional gap and stress of overwhelm of how do I get this vibe? This is what I've dreamed of for the last 18 months. This is why we need professionals. But we
Yeah.
need the professionals to want to curate these 3-day amazing weekends, but also be comfortable bringing that vibe and aesthetic to a chic backyard wedding. It's possible. It's harder, but it's
Yeah.
possible.
Right. And I think that's the key is that the inspiration board should just be that inspiration that you can then bring to your planner, bring to your florist, bring to your designer, your lighting designer or whatever, and say, I like this, right? How can
Mm-hmm.
we make something like this? Back when I was at the Knot for a short time had a TV show, and the TV show was My Celebrity Wedding by
Oh,
the Knot.
yes.
And it was Christina Aguilera's wedding, let's say, for however seven figures, whatever it was, but then how you could do that on a more realistic budget. Now, truth be told, that more realistic budget was still, more than the average wedding, but
Mm-hmm.
they were also doing it in New York, where the average cost is way more than the average wedding across the country. But what I loved about it is exactly what you were saying, which is, yeah, look at this, right? These are real Swarovski crystals that she had all over the place, but you could do that with these plastic ones, right? You're going to get
Mm-hmm.
that look, and it's not going to bust the budget. And some of the celebrity planners I've seen speak will do that, where they'll show this really expensive wedding they did and say, hey, look, you don't have to do this to get this look. You can do
Mm-hmm.
this. So for someone who's listening, who's not using Pinterest right now, for a wedding professional who's not using Pinterest, what are the best practices for them?
I think well, to start with, is making sure that you understand that Pinterest isn't more particularly a marketing platform. It's a search engine. It's a window into intent. And so visibility is about timing, not necessarily volume. You're not wanting to create more content just to put it on Pinterest. You
Mhm.
want to look at what you already have. You know your ideal couples and the cycles of any wedding timeline. We all know, no matter who your couple is, engagement season is between November and February. majority of that hasn't changed in 10 plus years, right? It's there. So visibility is about timing and you want to meet them where they are. So starting to pin content about for newly engaged couples in the summer, prepping and getting it ready for those that are newly engaged later in the year is a great time to start. So it's not about more content, it's about the right timing and the best content. You want to use your
Okay.
best content to meet them where they are and fill in that know, like, trust factor with your galleries, with your blog content. If you're guests on podcasts, if you've been like, if you're promoted, like you've been selected and are in a wedding magazine, a publication, you want to share that stuff and in a right timeline to make sure that they meet you where they are in the different stages. Newly engaged, they're overwhelmed, they've been trying to do it for a few months, and then maybe it's a last minute decision and they're wanting to ramp up or they have more money that they didn't know they had. So they want to ramp up their guest engagement, like experience.
Mhm.
You can meet them there and guide them directly to where you are.
So it makes sense, obviously, for planners. It makes sense for florists and designers. Does this make sense for other categories? Like if you're a DJ, right? Does it make sense?
I say yes.
Okay. All right. But again, explain because I'm curious because there are a lot of DJs listening who are probably
Yes.
thinking, Pinterest for me? Like, what would I do?
So bare minimum, I think from a visibility standpoint and utilizing what it's for of inspiration and guiding the regional searches because they may not for a DJ, Pinterest may not be the first thing, but
Mhm.
if you want to rank higher on Google or Yahoo or Bing, the more you can elevate your social signature, so all those backlinks, the better. So
Mhm.
pinning content creates backlinks to your website, to various pages on your website. So it tells Google you're a reputable source, you are worth sharing, and so you rank higher on Google
Okay.
or whatever your search engine platform of choice is.
So let's talk about content. Some people are thinking, okay, so the stuff that I'm putting up on Instagram, I'll just put it up on Pinterest. Good idea, bad idea.
I'm a queen of repurposing content. So I think it's a great idea
Okay.
because specifically in the wedding industry, you have spent 12, 18, sometimes longer months planning and curating this wedding, whether it's a one-day event or a full-on wedding weekend. And if you're only putting it on one platform and that content disappears within 24, 48 hours if you're lucky, it's almost a slap in the face for all the hard work, tears, dedication, and roller coaster of emotions that you just put into this couple's wedding. So I always say repurpose it on Pinterest. If you spent time creating a beautiful reel or a montage of carousel posts, take that content and repurpose it. And you can funnel it to that Instagram post or you can funnel it to your services. But that content should be seen and reused much longer than 24 hours. And that's what Pinterest provides is
Mhm.
visibility for the long term. You
Mhm.
repurpose that content, you turn it into a gallery on your website where you tag all the vendors. That gallery can be repurposed onto Pinterest into however many pins you want to. But then if you take time to put it on Instagram, which you should be, take that and repurpose it on Pinterest and lead it to that post because you probably have a mini chat or some other keyword triggered workflow. Now Pinterest can hack the algorithm and help it last longer than 48 hours. So someone 6 months from now that's looking for a natural, eco-friendly tablescape we'll
In
go with
cloud
that.
white, in cloud
They're
white.
looking for that on Pinterest, and it's going to lead them to your social media platform, and they're going to see it. They're going to love it. They're going to put in that trigger word, and now they're on your email list where you can continue to build that know, like, trust factor, all because you took 2 minutes to repurpose that piece of content onto Pinterest.
How much of this can be automated, like through Zapier or IFTA or any of those?
I try to teach and help people get to where they spend an hour a week batch scheduling. And so
Okay.
you can actually link Instagram. to Pinterest and it'll automatically pull the content from Instagram to your Pinterest account. The
Okay.
only issue if you do that is it pulls it over as an Instagram caption and it's not primed for a pin title and description. So
Got it.
you would still have to go manually and do that, or you can batch create the content
Hmm.
and schedule it out either inside Pinterest Native Scheduler if you have a business account, which I recommend you doing because then you get access to trends and analytics,
Hmm.
or you can use a third party like Tailwind and it automatically goes over. You don't really need Zapier to do that. You
Right.
can just use one of these platforms.
So the ones that let you schedule, you can schedule from a third party to Pinterest like you can to Instagram and stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, there you go. Makes it easier. Use the same content. I mean, that's great. But again, you said something there. I don't want to glide over it. The tags and the things on Pinterest, right? What makes what's different on Pinterest than a post on Instagram, let's say?
So Instagram is just one caption. You're kind of describing it. You're going to tag all the
Right.
vendors, or you should be,
Right.
just to help amplify the reach. Shameless plug, you should be always showing love to
Right.
the other vendors who's loved
Yes.
this wedding too. But the difference is keywords and SEO, so search engine optimization. You want to know what people are searching for, that data, and put it in the pin title, which is almost like the one line hook. And then the description is a longer, more natural elevator pitch of what they're looking at, the vibes they're feeling, the emotional, plus the logistical, what they're searching for and trying to create on their own. And then everything has a link. And that's another differentiator between social media and Pinterest being a search engine
Hmm.
is you want to have a link and you don't get dinged for it. Pinterest
Hmm.
loves when your links work and there are no error message. That helps them want to promote it more.
Hmm.
Whereas social media, you have to have that trigger word so you can message them the link, or you have to put it in the comments if it's on Facebook. If you put a link somewhere, they don't want you to leave the platform, so the
Right.
algorithm stops pushing your content. Pinterest is the opposite. They want to send people to amazing sites. They want to send them to something that's going to help them bring joy to their life, and in this case, planning a wedding.
Right. So again, getting them to your site, which is a great goal for any business, because you have no more competition there when they're on your website. Pinterest is encouraging that, whereas the other ones are
Yes.
discouraging that. Okay, so if you didn't catch that, again, there's another big benefit of Pinterest. Um, we talked about search engine optimization. A big thing now is optimizing for AI, right? AI searches. People are searching with ChatGPT and Perplexity and Gemini and Claude, and you could go down the list,
You name it, it's
all the
there.
different ones there.
Yes.
Are those also searching on Pinterest? Like if I put a search into Gemini, is it going to search Pinterest the way it searches the internet?
It's going to crawl your website,
Hmm.
not necessarily Pinterest. So when
Okay.
I am working with a client one on one, whether it's through a strategy intensive or full service management, we take the content you already have and we
Hmm.
turn it into pin content. But we
Right.
continue the next layer of reviewing the content you already have and setting it up so that it can be found both on Google, so SEO, search engine
Right.
optimized, but also answer engine optimization or optimize, which is those AI tools. And
Right.
so that's how you metadata descriptions on your images. That
Hmm.
also, it had a layout and how you write your blog posts. That had just small tweaks like that make it more searchable. So Pinterest is my platform of choice, but my work is building a whole ecosystem of content and evergreen visibility, no matter how this couple is looking. So I look at Pinterest keywords and what's trending, but I also use Uber Suggest and Answer the Public to see what people are searching for and the 10,000 different ways that they're searching, all trying to get to the same place. And we implement that into your entire strategy.
Yeah, I think what a lot of people are missing is they ignore their own website these days and they're just going to these social platforms
Mhm.
where it sounds like this is what I do. It sounds like you're encouraging this, which is the good content should live on your website and then get put out into these other places, which are going to draw them back to your website. So you said if you put this gallery on your website, which you can then have Pinterest link back to, it still
Hmm.
has to live. It had to be on your website first. And we know that Google loves fresh content, right? So adding fresh content to your website and now being able to repurpose it sounds like a great strategy for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So quick best practices. Somebody who's not on there right now. First thing you already said it, business account, right? Business account is still free.
Yep, business account is free. We love
Okay.
free with marketing enterprises.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, we love free, but we want people to pay us. So if you have to pay a little bit, it's like, Chat GPT, I gladly pay them the $20 a month. And I pay Gemini their 20 and I pay Perplexity their 20, right? Because I want to get the best features, right? But free account. Okay, great. Gets you the analytics, right? What else does a business account get you that a regular account doesn't? Anything else?
So it gets you analytics, and data is key with
All
knowing
right.
everything that we can't really, we don't want to throw spaghetti at a wall. So
Okay.
knowing that, but then you also get trends. So
Mhm.
Pinterest, we get to see what search behavior is happening from a growing, from year to date, week to date, seasonal. We have access to all of that search behavior so that we can see where the industry is going, not necessarily where it's been, but where it's leading to, so you can stay ahead of the curve. Couples are loving blue weddings right now. The blue is like the color according to Pinterest predicts. So any wedding, any party, anything that you have where it's shades of blue, you can go ahead and
Mhm.
start pinning that content. So when it gets time for, oh, I got engaged, now let's get to the nitty-gritty of planning. Your content's already there. You already know where it's going. It's where it's coming to.
Mhm.
So you can help prep that search behavior by getting it on there.
Is that why your nails are blue?
Not intentionally. I actually let my son pick my nail color, and I was like, hoping he would pick something more seasonal Christmas, and this is what
Uh,
he picked.
And anytime I hear a blue, I always remember the Devil Wears Prada, the cerulean blue scene, where Anne Hathaway gets chided for not realizing that her belt was part of a whole series of choices that were made by other people.
I love that. Yes, it's been so long since I've watched that movie.
And your nails are almost cerulean blue,
Yeah,
actually. There you go. Okay, so I did that was not planned, folks. That was not
I was
planned.
not. I
That
actually didn't even think about that when I was talking about blue.
that was not planned. So again, strategy first, get your business account, right? Get that set up, and then what else? Anything else in that setup, right? Great. So I claim a business account. What else do I need to do to make that account strong?
I would always start with optimizing your profile with
Okay.
your boards, not just spring weddings, but using keywords into and regional too, just to amplify your local
Okay.
SEO,
Mm,
and doing a roundup of that because it's not about doing more marketing, it's interpreting signals better. So
okay.
your boards descriptions all need to be keyword focused based on your ideal audience of what they're actually searching for, not the things that you love, but what is your audience looking for so that they can find you,
Mm,
and having your bio set up, have a link to your website. You can have just like any other platform, you have like a banner photo where you can guide them to the next step with a visual and then just start creating content. I might be the only person and strategist that will say start with just one or two pins a day. Don't feel like you have to
okay.
create more just because you're on a new platform. Look at your existing data, your highest trafficked blog post, your best performing galleries on your website, your top performing reels. Your people are loving those. Now give them a longer shelf life and put that on Pinterest and then start feeding that data into your upcoming strategy because you're not creating content for the sake of going on Pinterest. You're putting it on Pinterest to give it a longer shelf life, to give your people a chance, an opportunity to find you when they're ready to find you.
So even if that content that got good traffic is not recent, you'd still put that up on Pinterest if you're starting fresh.
If it aligns with your ideal audience, I say yes. So like
Okay.
look at when I'm working with someone, I work with their social media manager very closely. Hey, what were the top performing reels in the last 30 days? I'm going to put that on Pinterest.
Mm,
And then we look at what's coming. So what blog content do you have coming down the pipeline or what galleries are we adding to your website? But most planners, most couples, they have these colors or various shades or various aesthetics that can be described in a different way. Flat lays, green and white. I don't care what color you call the green,
right.
green and white wedding, we can fit that into your strategy and guide them. Is it more eco-friendly? Was it a wedding weekend? Was it this? Was it that? We're going to look at that content and we're going to amplify it in the way that is natural. Like if it's green and white, I'm not going to make it blue and white. I'm
Mhm.
going to take those details and just tie it to the signals that Pinterest is saying is going, where the
Right.
trends are going, and then revamp it.
Now that those descriptions, is that in like paragraph type text or is that just a bunch of hashtags?
No hashtags.
Okay. No
It's
way.
in natural language. So we
Okay.
don't want to like keyword stuff. It's going to be in like one or two sentences. You have 500 characters that you can utilize. And
Okay.
so we say it in a more natural way. We just weave it in as if you were explaining it to someone on a phone call.
Oh, thank goodness. Because
Yeah.
is some I've heard a lot of people saying, stop with all the hashtags on Instagram and the other places, which, I just tell me what's going on, right? Like let's just describe it, right? Like you just said, like you're talking to somebody briefly,
Yep.
briefly. You still have 500 characters and spaces.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So
So it's
that's
like a small paragraph.
right, which but still twice what X allows you now, right? Because it was 100 and something, and then became was what is 140 became 280, right? I think there's
Oh.
yeah, now that's double that. So it's a decent amount where you can say something, but I love that. How would you briefly describe this to somebody? Would you make it like if you were describing to somebody who couldn't see it? Like,
So Pinterest allows you, it's like an alt text option,
okay,
and it is built for I don't know what the voice is.
visually
It
impaired.
will read the pin description
Okay.
describing what the image is.
Right. So it's text reader. It's done for text reader, which is good because again, people who are visually impaired, still plan weddings and still plan events and still want to know what's going on. I have some friends who are blind, and the technology really can help them if it's
Mm-hmm.
done right. And you also talked about the alt tags and things on your photos. So when you put a photo on your website, don't ignore those boxes in the background that have the title and the description, right? You don't have to put a caption that's shown, but you do have when you hover your mouse over it, something comes up and you don't want it to say, 4567.jpg. You you
You
want
do
it,
not know.
you do not. Yeah, I was just uploading some new photos on my website and making sure that those are in there. Your site should be ADA compatible and all that's all that. So, oh gosh, I'm looking at the time here now. Um, so what do you do to help people? Give me briefly, since we just talked about briefly, tell me briefly. So what do you do to help people or how can the people listening find out more about how you could possibly help them?
So, if anyone is listening and wants clarity on where their visibility is misaligned, I offer a veil visibility audit, which is visibility, evergreen, intentional, and leads. So,
Mhm.
it's not about doing more marketing, it's about understanding what's actually working, what's just noise and fluff that's not really going to move the needle forward, and where Pinterest is going to help you signal that opportunity. So, it
Okay.
helps wedding professionals no matter if they're a planner all the way to a DJ and everything in between, make calmer but more confident growth decisions and
Mhm.
really setting a foundation for you to meet couples where they are, warm up your leads in a nicer, less overwhelming way because
Mhm.
they've already ingested your content. So by the time they reach out to you, they've already seen enough that they're pretty confident. I have booked clients using this same veil method without ever doing a discovery call. So
Okay.
that's how I support my clients is with the same methodology that I use in my own business.
Okay. So you have where you can tell them how to do it, and whether you could do it for them. You have both
I
those
have
options.
both options. The audit is where we dive deep into yours, and I
Okay.
help you formulate a game plan of doing it yourself.
Okay, great. And where can people find out more about that? Besides the show notes, is there a website?
Yes, so my website is ddvirtualmanagement.com, and you can always find me on Instagram at danas.desk.nc.
danas.desk.nc. There we
North
go.
Carolina, which is where
North
I'm located.
Carolina. All right. And I was in Charlotte recently. So Dana, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom about Pinterest. Thanks everybody for listening. And again, look at the show notes. You'll see the links there about how to find out more about Dana. And if you want to find out more about more episodes of the Wedding Business Solutions podcast, podcast.alanberg.com. Thanks for listening. Hi, it's Alan Berg. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wedding Business Solutions podcast. If you have a suggestion for a future topic or guest, please go to podcast.alanberg.com and you can make your suggestion there. You can also do it at Ask Me Anything, which is a button on that page, or just email me at alan@weddingbusinesssolutions.com. And if you'd like to find out how I can help you with sales training, website review, consulting, or speaking for your group or organization, possibly at no cost to the organization, contact me directly, alan@weddingbusinesssolutions.com. Thanks again for tuning in.